So this chapter we're looking at a little bit more specifically where electrons are. So you'll hear about quantum numbers, and maybe we won't focus on that so much, but at least you can see it. It's not that hard. So the question is, where is the electron? Right? You talked about before that an atom has 10 electrons, or an atom has 12 electrons. Well, they're in general in a cloud around the nucleus, but we can be a little bit more specific. We could say this electron's here, this electron's here, just so that we know a little bit more about the electrons. So one of those ways that we say we know where it is what energy level is the electron in. So this could be first, second, third energy level, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. You don't see much beyond seventh, but there is an eighth, there is a ninth, but we really only see up to seventh. We really only talk about up to the seventh energy level, at least in this class. So the capacity of any energy level is going to be 2n squared. So the first energy level can only hold, n squared is 1, it can only hold 2 electrons. The second energy level, 2 squared is 4, times 2, you can have 8 electrons. Third energy level, you can have 18, and so on. So that's the first question. What energy level is it in? Second question, what sublevel is it in? If you've got something that's in the second energy level, it might be in one of 2 different sublevels. If it's in the third energy level, there are 3 different sublevels. The fourth energy level has 4, the fifth energy level has 5, and so on. So we only talk about 4 of the sublevels. That's S, P, D, and F. So, by the way, the first energy level only has 1 sublevel. It just has the S. The second energy level has S and P. Third energy level has S, P, and D. Fourth, all 4. They have a different capacity. The S sublevel can only hold 2 electrons, P can hold 6, D can hold 10, and F can hold 14. Nice. So that's your second question. What sublevel is it in? Right? I know you can know what energy level it is, first, second, third, fourth. Second thing you can know is what sublevel it's in. That's S, P, D, or F. And then you can ask yourself further, like, what orbital is it in? Okay, there's these things called electron orbitals, and they can only hold 2 electrons, no matter which sublevel it's in. There's a lot of terminology in this chapter. Whatever sublevel it's in, it's going to have a certain number of orbitals, from 1, 3, 5, and each orbital can only hold 2 electrons. So an S sublevel only has 1 orbital, only holds 2 electrons. A P sublevel has 3 orbitals. 3 times 2 is 6, it holds 6 electrons. D sublevels have 5 orbitals, 5 different regions where we find electrons, right? And each of those regions can hold 2 electrons, so D sublevel has a capacity of 10. F sublevel has 7 different orbitals, 7 different regions where the electron can be. Each of those 2 electrons can be in those regions, and so we can hold 14. Okay, so we have, and what I've drawn here are some lines. You're going to be drawing orbital notation. This could represent some S orbital, and you could say, oh, I've got an electron in there. I've got 2 electrons in there. More practice with that later. The last question is it spin up or spin down? So you can see the way I drew these lines, right? These lines represent electrons in an orbital. The first one, by convention, we draw pointed up. Could be a double arrow. Pointed up, and then the second one we draw down. So the first one spin up. The second one is spin down, because these electrons are spinning, right? Just like the Earth is spinning on its axis, the electrons are spinning, and if we put 2 electrons in one orbital, they will have opposite spins. So one will be spinning clockwise, the other one will be spinning counterclockwise. All right, so this gets us to quantum numbers. So there's a lot going on here, but we have N, L, M sub L, and M sub S. N is energy level. And the N value is just going to be whatever energy level it is. I have 3 example quantum numbers or 3 sample sets of quantum numbers, and you can see the first one, that number, that's just energy level. That's easy. L. L is your, what sublevel is it in? That's your sublevel. And then the L values are such. So S, it has an L value of 0, P is 1, D is 2, F is 3. So you can see these values. We have a 1 here. That's going to correspond to a P sublevel. Next one is M sub L. When we look at these orbitals, what we do is automatically the middle one gets a value of 0, and then middle one's a 0, middle one's a 0, middle one's a 0. So for a P sublevel that has 3 orbitals, we need a number to put on each of these orbitals to say, okay, I'm talking about that one. And just what you do is you go negative to the left and positive to the right. So this one, D, we're going to do the same thing. -1, -2, 1, 2. F, we do the same thing. 1, 2. Right, that way we can pretty quickly say, okay, I'm talking about that electron. Notice that the range for M sub L values is from, right, notice for P, P's L value is 1. The M sub L values go from -1 to 1. Right, D has an L value of 2, and the M sub L values go from -2 to 2. And for F, the L value is 3, and the M sub L goes from -3 to +3. So that's how you pick an orbital for, or that's how you pick which orbital, or show which orbital. And then is it spin up or spin down? And for this one, we just do a +1/2 or a -1/2, depending on which one we're talking about. So I'm going to draw quick orbital diagrams to show what we're talking about with each of these 4 sets of quantum numbers. So this is 4. I'm going to write a 4, and this is 4. The next value is 1, which is a P. P, and the next is 1. So I'm going to draw an orbital diagram for the 4P. I go -1, 0, and 1. And we're talking about an electron here, and it's +1/2. So I do something like that. So no, that's the electron I'm talking about. So this might relate to a 4p3, an atom with 4p3 electron configuration. Go ahead and write that. Next one is 3, and we got a 2. 2 is a D sublevel. 3D. And then we got 1, 2. 3D, I've labeled it, so we're talking about -2, but we're talking about -1/2, so we want this one to be pointing down. Up, up. So if I was looking at that one, I'd say, oh, there's 6 electrons in the D sublevel, the way I've drawn it. Maybe I'm talking about 3D6. And then the last one, we've got 6. Sublevel number is 0, which is an S. 6S. S only has 1 orbital. And it says +1/2, so I draw that. 0, so maybe 6S1.